Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be reviewing the Rooikat 105, a currently Tier 6 8.7 BR wheeled light tank that exists as a premium vehicle for the British Ground Forces tech tree, and it flies the South African flag. In this video, I'll be going over everything that you need to know about it, including its stats, how it plays, its strengths and weaknesses. I'll give some scores in several key areas, and then I'll give my final recommendation on if I feel that this vehicle is worth purchasing or not. As always, please subscribe for more content like this, as that would make you a cool cat. But without further ado, let's get into this video. Now, as always, I'll place the stats here on the side of the screen. Its notable stats are its speed, armor, and excellent turret traverse. And now, for how it plays. Well, as you reach higher BRs, you begin to notice a clear line being drawn insofar as playstyles for tanks are concerned. You have your main battle tanks that do a little bit of everything, your SPAA that shoot down aircraft and troll ground vehicles, your ATGM carriers that make you question life, and then you have the wheelie boys that LARP Fast and Furious movies in War Thunder. And just like in some of those movies, the Rooikat features a cannon that can wreck fools. The Rooikat is essentially a very fast, large, and lightly armored tank destroyer masquerading as a light tank. This vehicle has a cannon that can be up-tiered extremely easily and will annihilate pretty much every vehicle that it hits, especially of course if you aim well. Besides this, it has a top speed of over 120 kilometers per hour, which, while not typically attainable or even usable, as your stabilizer will fail at around 75 kilometers per hour, is indicative that this bad cat can move fast. Typically, even off-road, unless in the mud of course, you will hit speeds of 50 kilometers per hour or higher, which is absurd. Because of this, the Rooikat is excellent at scouting, base capping, and just being a general menace to the enemy, popping up in different areas around the map quicker than almost anyone else in the match can. The only real negative to this is that the Rooikat has awful armor, making it susceptible to HMGs, autocannons, and strafing runs from aircraft, as well as having just rocks thrown at it. That, and the fact that the Rooikat is absolutely massive, being only somewhat smaller than the mouse in terms of dimensions, though the visibility rating for the Rooikat is only 84% compared to the mouse's 250%. Regardless, the fact that you have an absolutely massive vehicle to use, as well as the fact that it has negligible armor, means that you need to be especially careful and that you need to mind your cover, only leaving cover if you know exactly where you want to go next. In this way, fighting the Rooikat, along with similar vehicles, is somewhat predictable, as they have to almost always hide behind rocks, houses, and even brush, whereas actual tanks can function more in the open. Regardless, if you can master this, the 105mm GT7 cannon with its top DM33 APF SDS shell that has over 400mm max of armor pen can easily dispatch all enemies that look your way. This, combined with its thermals, quick turret traverse, and of course its speed, makes the Rooikat a premier scouting tank destroyer, thus giving you the ability to destroy enemies anywhere and everywhere on the map. Now, with this all being said, let's get into its strengths and weaknesses, and I probably have more strengths and weaknesses here than I have for any other vehicle I've ever reviewed. That said, for its strengths, it has an extremely powerful DM33 APF SDS shell at 8.7 BR. Even beyond 9.0 BR, even up to around 10.0 BR, this round is effective. Second, this is an extremely fast vehicle, especially on roads. Maneuverability is also good at higher speeds, though again, these two benefits are amplified on roads and diminished off-road. Also, excellent reverse speed and acceleration are traits on this vehicle. These things all combine to make you into a base capturing master and someone that can go into and out of cover very quickly. Third, it is spacious on the inside, meaning that you will not always be a one-shot kill, even despite its horrendous armor. Fourth, as mentioned before, it has excellent turret traverse speed, better than the average by a decent amount at this BR. Fifth, it has thermals, which are not guaranteed at this BR, not even for premiums. Beyond this, it has smoke grenades, which are another thing that are not guaranteed necessarily at this BR. Seventh, it has a commander sight, though this only has night vision, but again, it does have a commander sight. Eighth, it has very good optics for both the gunner and commander. Ninth, it has the ability to scout, which will give you tons of assist if used in conjunction with your team. And finally, of course, it has premium RP and SL bonuses. And now for its weaknesses. First, it has awful mobility in the mud, but even a bit mediocre off-road depending on the environment. You'd be surprised this is actually pretty quick on sand, which totally totally surprised me. Secondly, it has essentially no armor, being susceptible to all autocannons and even HMGs. The only good thing about this armor is that it's designed mostly intelligently, with the lightest armor in front covering only the wheel wells and a large portion of the front being heavily sloped, which should prevent most HMG damage to the front and even a fair amount of lesser penning autocannon damage. Again, this is exclusive to the front of the vehicle. Speaking of, the Rooikat 105 does not have an HMG of its own, which makes it susceptible to lightly armored vehicles and aircraft, both of which can easily kill you with machine guns alone. Fourth, the Rooikat 105 is huge, meaning that you will be seen very easily, and when combined with its poor armor, this is a recipe for dying very easily. Fifth, tires are very easy to destroy, though you can get by with a few of them destroyed, albeit you will be moving much more slowly. For its sixth weakness, aiming over the engine deck and the rear is very difficult and will not allow you to depress your cannon. Seventh, because this has a wheeled suspension, shooting while moving over rough terrain can be somewhat more difficult than with regular tanks. Speaking of the transmission, for its eighth weakness, it is absolutely gigantic, meaning that you will very easily be disabled as the transmission runs the entire length of the tank and is again huge. Ninth, it loses its stabilizer beyond 75 kilometers per hour. And finally, it has poor low-speed maneuverability. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into how I score this vehicle. First and foremost, for armament, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. While not the fastest reload in game, the GT7 cannon on the Rooikat 105 is amazing. This vehicle can take down pretty much any tank that it will fight with ease. Even in a total up tier, you will be able to go toe-to-toe with almost any enemy that you'll fight. The only things that you lose points for are your middling reload speed and the total lack of a top-mounted MG. Now for mobility, I give the Rooikat a 9 out of 10. The Rooikat, along with some other wheeled light vehicles and tank destroyers, is in a very exclusive class of extremely fast vehicles in War Thunder. On road, you can easily reach 80 kilometers per hour or faster, though your real top speed that you'll probably never reach is upwards of 120 kilometers per hour. Even off-road and even on sand, the Rooikat is very fast. It will suffer majorly in mud and a bit in snow, however, as it has poor turning ability at low speeds. In all though, speed is what will keep you alive in this vehicle, and speed is what this vehicle has in droves. Now for survivability. This only gets a 2.5 out of 10. The Rooikat has next to no armor and is a huge target, which is awful on both counts. Plus, it only has a 4-man crew. While pretty much anything can kill you with ease, from HMGs to autocannons to strafing runs to bombs and regular tank cannons, the Rooikat has two somewhat small positives in terms of survivability. For one, its crew is spaced out decently inside of it, and two, its armor is so thin that a higher penning shell, such as an APF SDS, might pass through without splintering too much, thus limiting damage. Either way, this vehicle will die very easily, and Pumas are your worst enemy. Now overall, I give it a 7 out of 10. Both the mobility and armament on this vehicle are brilliant, and while this is an amazing combo, especially for those that like to run and gun, you will oftentimes not be able to do so effectively, as a single stray HMG round can disable your vehicle, nullifying one of your two major strengths. While one of the most fun high BR premium tanks, as well as one of the most capable and most easily up-tierable, you need to stay ever vigilant to ensure that you don't have someone eyeing you, as your speed and power may be for naught, as the Rooikat may as well be made of sheet metal. With this all said, let's get into my recommendation. Now, the Rooikat 105 is a fantastic vehicle for what it was built for, scouting and destroying other tanks. Its cannon is extremely up-tierable, and while you have no armor, one could argue that an APF SDS shell will go right through the Rooikat just as easily as it would a Type 74 or even an XM1. Of course, this is not entirely true, as those vehicles will occasionally save you with their armor, where the Rooikat will only save you with speed, but I digress. The Rooikat is a dream for people that like to run and gun, and it, to me, feels like it could easily be a 9.0 BR vehicle, but I won't give Gaijin any ideas. So long as you don't get hit, you can place this beast in pretty much any lineup and not only do well, but have a lot of fun while doing so, as I know that I had a ton of fun using this vehicle. With that said, do I recommend the Rooikat 105? Yes, I do. If you don't mind its lack of armor and its ridiculous size, this is a ton of fun to be around. This is pretty much the opposite of the terms, with a somewhat comparable gun, albeit at a much lower BR. I am more than happy to give this vehicle the Tankenstein seal of approval. I'll be using the Rooikat 105 for a long time because it's just that much fun. But either way, thank you all so much for watching. Please, of course, like, comment, subscribe, Let me know what you guys think of the video in the comments below, and of course on the vehicle. I'm very interested to see your opinions because I had a ton of fun making this video. Either way, thanks again, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.